Hi, everybody. This is Todd Krieger, and today I'm talking to you about why love isn't enough to fix repeating arguments. It really isn't. Why is love alone not able to resolve the same fights you keep having over and over again? And what are you missing that's keeping you stuck? That's the subject of today's video talk presentation. How many times have I heard couples say, I don't know why, I really love my partner so much. We're just miserable together. We just keep getting in the same old arguments and I can't take it anymore. So they love each other, but they can't take it anymore because they keep doing the same old things that you would think, why, if it's not working, why don't you just do something different? But it doesn't work that way, does it? It really doesn't. Many of you can relate to this, that it's whatever's not working, it's just hard to change it. So the one question is, why do we keep having the same argument over and over? And arguments can be about the here and now, but it also can trigger deeper feelings, deeper issues, fears, earlier childhood challenges. So the challenge that we have and why love isn't enough is that we're relatively unconscious oftentimes. And I've said this many times, the conscious mind is really the last to know oftentimes what's really going on. We know what's going on. We don't like what's going on. So oftentimes we feel like it's my partner's fault and my partner feels like it's my fault. And we don't understand why you're treating me this way. And yet we're probably triggering them and it's hard for us to admit it. And they're triggering us. It's hard for them to admit it, but we keep doing the same things. So why do we have the same argument over and over again? It's because we are trying to survive. We have these brains that are set up for survival. And what we do to survive doesn't make us thrive as a couple. So if, for example, just an example, my wife's angry at me, and maybe she came from a family where she always had to hold it in or be responsible and nobody really listens. So she comes to me, she's really angry at me. And let's say I come from a family where mom always was critical of dad and I didn't like it. And I used to actually fight for dad, let's say, and fight his battles, let's say. And those are the families we come from. She comes from a family where she really wasn't heard. She had to be ultra responsible. I came from a family where maybe mom was really angry at dad a lot or critical. And she comes to me and she's angry at me about something. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't imagine being in a relationship where we don't at times frustrate, disappoint, or evoke anger in the other person. It's just, especially if we're living lives that are challenging and we're striving, we have children, or we have parents that are problematic, or we have people that are getting injured or maybe even dying. There's so many life challenges. And we get stressed and we are not really great at learning how to handle our emotions when we're stressed because our parents didn't teach us. So I'm just showing there's a lot of things that are coming at us that lead to these repeating arguments. So back to the example. So she's mad at me. She's angry at me about something, and I don't give her what she needs. What does she need? She needs what she didn't get in her family, which is a man who can really listen to her, who can tune into her and validate her. But see, I can't do that because it's triggering some survival issues in me. I surely don't want to be seen as the way mom sees it. So I'm going to fight against it. I'm going to fight hard. I'm not saying physically necessarily, but I will be defensive. I surely won't be open-hearted and listening to why she's angry at me because she's triggering some survival thing in me. So her survival issue of I'm not heard, and my survival issue is you can't criticize me. I got to be good enough. Come together. And I really love her, and she really loves me. But these wounded parts get triggered, and they get in the way. And like I said, we have all these other factors, life issues, challenges, and those kinds of things that happen. The lifespan issues of loss and so beginnings and endings. So many things that go on that could cause us to have pain. And yet I'm not in a position to listen to you when I'm so busy trying to survive symbolically. Now, we're going to talk about what you could do about it, but that's why when people say, if we love each other, why isn't that enough? It's because we have the shadow side. We have the side of us that is not that love. We don't know how to love our shadow side until we learn about it. We're interested in it. Those shadow sides are normalized. We start to understand, wow, I get triggered because of this. Wow, this is what goes on with me. So are you doomed to argue forever? No, not at all. But the answer is a twofold answer of being curious about yourself and your partner and awareness. As you get curious and you be interested in what makes me do what I do, what makes you do what you do. And we look for the real answers rather than blaming each other. We start to recognize that there's different parts to us. There's just my adult part that runs my business or raises the children, but we have these other parts of us that come out mostly with our partner that trigger our fears, our survival issues, our negative cognitions and beliefs about ourselves. And we're fighting for our lives. Not really, but it feels that way. And so we do, and we don't listen. And the same arguments are repeated over and over again. Because again, in this example, my partner in this hypothetical example is fighting to be heard, and I am fighting to be seen as good enough because it triggers the biggest fears we have from my childhood. So, what causes people to repeat these conflict patterns is that we just keep getting stuck in this survival loop over and over again. And it could go on for months, years, and decades. We need to be able to slow down. Slowing down is the best piece of short advice I could give you. Slow down, along with don't be so sure of yourself. Don't think you know what's going on here. You may not. But if you have an attitude of maybe I don't know, there's an openness to learning about you and about your partner. You want to be accepting that maybe there's things I don't know. Maybe I have a blind spot. Maybe you have a blind spot. If we don't look for our blind spots, love will never be enough. But if we look for our blind spot, then we can take the love we have for each other that is shown when things are going well, and we can aim it towards the parts of us that are hurting, that are fearful, that are protective, that are reactive. And when we bend our love and focus our love towards those parts of ourselves and get curious about it, we are now in a position as we continue to slow down that choices in how we deal with these parts of ourselves so that we won't have to argue to feel like we're surviving. Because now we have other options. Um, you're able to say, I'm not in danger. So in the hypothetical example, when I become really more clear about, wow, this is what goes on with me, I'm fighting to be enough. Wait a second. There's part of me that doesn't feel enough. Where does that come from? What's that about? And I love that part of me and literally love that part of me. I think I would love a child that had some doubts about themselves. And I love that part of me. Can I soothe that part of me? Now, when my partner is angry at me, I have some awareness and some tools, awareness of what's going on there, my ability to self-soothe, and I might have an option other than fighting for my life anymore because my life is not in danger now, and I know it. Now I have the capacity to be present for my partner. And when I tune into my partner, the argument stops. It doesn't repeat. I've had people ask me the question, how can I tell the difference between a normal argument and deeper issues? When you are addressing your deeper issues, it doesn't mean you're not going to have a conflict ever again. So I don't know if I call it normal arguments versus deeper issues. I would say there are arguments about everyday life, but when we have addressed our deeper parts, we are in such a much better position to just deal with the normal things that happen in life, the losses, the challenges, the disappointments that happen in life. We all have them. But working on our deeper issues, our younger parts, the parts that are trying to survive when they really are not in danger, but they learned it from their past, it cuts out so much of the escalation. I have a program that's called From Bickering and Escalation to Connecting and Loving. It's a 90-minute, powerful, information packed presentation to you that you can listen to, whether it's both of you or just one of you. Ideally, both of you, but even one of you will get the benefit of this because you start to recognize a lot of what I'm saying now. But of course, I go into a lot more detail how that you can go from that bickering and escalating that is because we're in survival mode to this capacity to connect and to be loving, even through the most challenging dialogues. And when we can do that, we are now on a course where we could be joyful, passionate partnership, a joyful, passionate partnership that doesn't only enjoy each other when the stars align and everything's wonderful, that we don't let our challenges get in the way of our connection. So that program is powerful. Please click on the link. There's a lot more that I will tell you about in that program. If you could click on that link and read about it, I highly recommend for a pretty insignificant price. It could be life changing. It could get you started on a whole different trajectory. I'd highly recommend it. So thanks for listening to this talk. Why love isn't enough to fix repeating arguments, and I wish you the best. This is Todd Krieger, making the world safe for love.